New research indicates that people don't take hurricane seriously if it has a female-sounding name. Now, this was a study that was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and also the researchers were from the University of Illinois and also Arizona State University. They actually looked at 6 decades worth of hurricane death rates, I should say, according to gender. And the years that they were looking at specifically were 1950 to 2012. Here's what they found. Of the 47 most damaging hurricanes, the female-named hurricanes produced an average of 45 deaths compared to 23 deaths in male-named storms, or almost double the number of fatalities. They also continued to write that if there was a name that was particularly feminine going up against a name that was very masculine, then the numbers actually increased. Now, there are a few limitations to the study that I should mention. Up until 1979, researchers would name the hurricanes female names only. So that does skew the results of the study quite a bit. New York Magazine did write about this downfall in the study. And also you should note that their sample size actually is not significant enough to come up with a real conclusion. But nonetheless, I do want to get your guys' thoughts on this. So Hank, let me start off with you. Make your point.
Well, I completely believe in this survey. I think but I think the bigger problem is all of the hurricane names. We need to give these hurricanes real names, like Hurricane Assfucker. People would be out of there, right? Hurricane Tax Evasion, I'm gone, right? Tax Audit, gone. I mean, it's all the names are too weak, lame.
Yeah.
No one takes them seriously.
Hurricane John Boehner?
Oh, please.
I'm not sticking around for that
Out of there.
I love it. Cara.
Okay, so my point is similar to the one that you made, which is we've got to dig deeper when we look at the way that science is presented in the news. There's a really great article by Ed Yong. I would check it out. It's on his blog Phenomena. And he really he goes into depth about the fact that, again, hurricanes didn't start being named male names until the late 70s. The sample size is really off. And truth be told, they took out Katrina because they were afraid that that would skew results, but they didn't take out Sandy. And when you take Sandy out of the mix, all of a sudden there's no significant difference between male and female hurricanes and the death toll, because Sandy is a huge outlier. So many people died in that storm. So be careful. I don't really think that these results hold up, and that's why we need to be critical thinkers when we look at science in the news.
Yeah, there are other factors that they actually didn't take into consideration when doing this study. For instance, you know, did somebody come to their home and tell them you need to evacuate because this storm is serious? You know, whether or not they had a bad experience evacuating in the past. So there are a number of different factors that play a role into whether or not someone evacuates. So, you know, it does have limitations. I'm glad that we pointed all of that out. But before we get to the questions, I want to quickly ask you guys, what do you think about, you know, the subconscious thoughts of people when it comes to feminine versus masculine? Do you think that people associate femininity with weakness? Hank.
I think they do. I think that, personally speaking, well, you know, we're at a ladies' table here, but you know, as a gay man, I think, and I think as women, people sometimes will underestimate you. Just, you know, as you walk into a room before you've even opened your mouth, and you probably have to work a little bit harder and prove yourself just a little bit more to gain the same amount of respect that someone who's already established visibly as masculine would automatically you would automatically attribute that to him, just because they're taller, better looking, and got a straight guy.
Yeah. I think that's completely true, and I think that even beyond that, if you do kind of push a little harder and you work harder to establish yourself as a strong female presence, especially in the workforce, then all of a sudden you might be construed as a bitch. So there's this fine line that you have to walk. But I think specifically with this study, is it really that females are seen as weaker, or is it that males are seen as more aggressive? Because I think that that's also true. Yes, there are preconceived notions that females are weaker, but there are also preconceived notions that males are more violent and more aggressive. And, you know, in some respects, those gender normative roles hold water, and in some respects they don't. And so I think it's a little more complicated than we're giving it credit for.
Great point. All right, so here's the question. Have you ever been underestimated because of your gender or sexuality, or have you ever underestimated someone else because of those factors? Cara.
Of course, of course. I mean, I have a master's degree in neurobiology. I went through the academic system in the sciences. I have a lot of friends that went through the academic system in the sciences. And to be a woman in science, you are definitely underestimated. I used to work in a lab where we had to machine these parts, and every time something would break, we had to go to the physics department in order to fix it. And I would get a chaperone to take me through the halls of the physics department because there were so few women in the physics department at my university that the guys like couldn't control themselves when you would walk down the halls. And this is not uncommon.
What would they do? Like whip it out?
No.
Hey-o.
No, but it would definitely take a lot longer to get down the hall than if you were just headed there on your own. Yeah, lots of stop, awkward conversation, you know.
But you got a lot of dates, right?
Oh God.
A lot of free dinners.
Did not want those dates, trust me. So
I mean, right?
It definitely is something that still exists to this day and that we have to push hard to get through, for sure.
Hank.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think more so than being gay, because we all know how homophobic Hollywood is. I think being Asian has hindered me just a little bit. I think the umbrella title of model minority is just that. We're quiet, we won't protest, we won't ask for our rights. And I think that's decades and decades of stereotypes being perpetuated onto this generation of Asian Americans. And so this generation especially, I think we've been fighting that. And then for someone who's working in a predominantly un-Asian field, I think I've had to break down just a few stereotypes when it comes to people that I've worked with. But you know, generally, if I feel like I'm turning that against someone else, all I have to do is just have a few conversations with them, and then we all get on the same page.
I love that. So, yeah, first impressions are not everything.
No, not at all. And I learned that for myself too.
Yeah. Well, I just want to give a quick example of me being underestimated. I remember years ago, TYT would get like voicemails from listeners, and some of the voicemails were supportive. Of course, we would get hate voicemails all the time. And one of them was from this guy who wanted to insult both me and Cenk. And he called Cenk a Turkish barbarian, and then he called me a woman. That was all he had to say. He said, he's like, your host, a Turkish barbarian. Anna is a woman. That was it. That was all he had to say. So yes, you get underestimated by some people if you're a woman, but that's okay because while you're asleep at the wheel, I'm gonna shiv you in your side. All right. So tell us what you guys think. Have you ever been underestimated? We want to hear from you. Comment in the section below, and we'll see you guys soon.